The clock is ticking for Keir Starmer. The leader of the Labour Party, once hailed as the saviour of a fractured opposition, is now viewed by many as a symbol of empty promises and failed leadership. For far too long, Starmer has been entangled in turmoil, mishandling crises, dodging accountability, and falling short of the decisive leadership the British people demand. His time is over. The British people feel betrayed looking at the scandal of grooming gangs. Nigel Farage has called it one of the greatest evils that has ever happened to our country, and his words carry a weight that is impossible to ignore. He declares, "We deserve to know the truth," and in this moment he speaks not just for himself, but for a nation tired of the lies, the cover-ups, and the failures of those in power. From the very beginning, Keir Starmer promised to be different. He vowed to lead with integrity, to rebuild trust, and to hold the government accountable. But what have we seen instead? A leader who seems more concerned with political optics than with tackling the issues that truly matter to the people. Under his watch, Labour has been mired in scandal after scandal, unable to break free from internal divisions and the perception of weakness. Starmer's leadership has been defined by turmoil, whether it's his inability to address grooming gangs, his failure to offer a clear vision for Britain's future, or his lacklustre performance against the Conservatives. The cracks are undeniable. The public sees it, Labour sees it, and now even Starmer's closest allies are beginning to question his ability to lead. For decades, the grooming gang scandal has been a dark stain on Britain's conscience. Thousands of innocent children, many of them from some of the most vulnerable backgrounds, have fallen victim to heinous crimes. These are crimes that destroy lives, devastate families, and shatter communities. And yet, despite the gravity of these atrocities, Keir Starmer has failed to act with the urgency and resolve the situation demands. Inquiry after inquiry has dragged on with promises made but rarely kept. Victims and their families have waited for years, and for some, justice still feels like an impossible dream. How did we reach this point? How could such systemic failures persist for so long in a country that prides itself on fairness and the rule of law? Among ordinary British citizens, frustration is mounting. People across the country are asking hard questions. Why does it feel like there are two sets of rules, one for the powerful and well-connected, and another for the rest of us? Why has there been such a blatant reluctance to tackle this issue head-on? And most importantly, who are the individuals responsible for covering up this scandal, allowing such evil to persist unchecked? In the face of this crisis, Nigel Farage has issued a bold challenge. He has given Keir Starmer, leader of the Labour Party, a clear ultimatum: expose the cover-up surrounding the grooming gang scandal or face the consequences of inaction. Farage has vowed that if Starmer fails, he will personally raise the funds to launch a full public inquiry, one that answers to the people, not to political elites. Let us not forget the promises Keir Starmer made when he took the reins of the Labour Party. He claimed he would restore public faith in politics, that he would rebuild the party as a force for good, and that he would put the interests of ordinary Britons first. But where are those promises now? Take this issue of the grooming gang scandal, a crisis that has torn communities apart and devastated countless lives. Starmer had the power to act decisively, to call for justice, and to demand accountability. Instead, he has been reluctant, evasive, and silent when the nation needed him most. His failure to confront this issue head-on is not just a failure of leadership, it's a betrayal of the victims who deserve answers and justice. The writing is on the wall for Keir Starmer. His approval ratings are slipping, his leadership is being questioned by his own MPs, and most importantly, the British public is losing faith in him. For a leader who promised to restore trust and integrity, this is a damning indictment, but this isn't just about polls or political infighting. This is about the future of our nation. Britain is facing some of the most serious challenges in its modern history, challenges that require bold, decisive, and visionary leadership. Starmer has proven time and again that he is not up to the task. He is not the leader Britain needs. This is a moment of reckoning, not just for Britain's political class, but for the entire nation. The call to action is clear. If we want to restore justice, we must demand accountability. If we want to protect future generations, we must stand united in the fight for truth. Keir Starmer's time is over. The British people are ready for a leader who will stand up for justice, tackle the issues that matter, and restore pride and confidence in our nation. They are ready for someone who will fight for the victims of grooming gangs, who will challenge the status quo, and who will lead with strength and conviction. Every day that Starmer clings to power is another day Britain loses the chance for real change. It's time for him to step aside. It's time for the Labour Party to find a leader who can inspire the nation and hold the government accountable. And it's time for the British people to demand better from those who claim to represent them. Imagine a Britain where justice is swift, where communities are safe, and where every child can grow up without fear. This is the vision that Farage and Reform UK are championing, a vision that resonates with the millions of British patriots who believe in the greatness of this country. But achieving this vision requires more than words. It demands action, courage, and the unwavering support of those who refuse to stand by as our values are eroded. From small towns to bustling cities, people are waking up to the need for change. They are joining a movement that puts justice and accountability first. They are raising their voices, signing petitions, and spreading the word that Britain deserves better. Farage's promise to bring justice to the victims of grooming gangs is not just a political statement, it is a moral commitment. And this commitment is shared by every individual who believes in the strength and integrity of this nation. Together we can make a difference. Together we can rebuild trust, restore hope, and ensure that the truth is never hidden again. The era of weak leadership and empty promises must come to an end. Britain deserves a leader who will listen, act, and deliver. The public is calling for accountability, justice, and real change. Keir Starmer has had his chance, and he has failed. Now it's time to move forward. Britain's future is too important to be left in the hands of a leader who has lost the trust of the people. Let us unite in demanding better. Let us stand together for a brighter, stronger, and more just Britain. And let us send a clear message. Keir Starmer's time is up.